You weren't hard to love. You were easy to take for granted. And that one sentence explains more about what happened than any argument you've ever had. She had full access to you, your time, your attention, your effort, your presence. And she didn't feel the weight of any of it. Not because it wasn't heavy, but because you were the one carrying it. Psychology has a term for this: hedonic adaptation. Researchers Sheldon and Leo Bomersky found that positive emotions from relationships naturally decline over time. Not because anything got worse, but because the brain stopped registering what's constant. You showed up every day, so showing up stopped needing something. You were stable, so stability became expected. You held things together, so together just felt like the default. Your presence became oxygen, and nobody thanks the air for being breathable until they're gasping. The effort you put in didn't disappear. It just became invisible, not because it wasn't valuable, but because it was consistent. And consistency in a world that celebrates chaos gets mistaken for boring, for safe, for, oh, he'll always be there, until he's not. And suddenly the room feels different, and she can't figure out what's missing. But her chest knows, her mornings know. The silence where your voice used to be, that knows. Robert Cialdini built his career studying influence. One of his core findings: scarcity changes perception. He wrote, "Opportunities seem more valuable to us when its availability is limited. So everything she overlooked when you were available, your patience, your consistency, your willingness to stay, suddenly became rare the moment you weren't. You didn't change, the supply did." Kahneman and Tversky took it further. They found that losses are psychology twice as powerful than gains. Twice. Meaning the pain of losing something hits harder than the pleasure of having it ever did. So no, she didn't fully feel your value when she had you. And that's not cruelty. That's neuroscience. The brain doesn't sound alarms for when it already has. It only panics when something is being taken away. And now that you're gone, now the alarm is ringing. But I need you to understand something. That alarm isn't love finally waking up. That's loss finally registering. And those are not the same thing. I want to say something directly to the men watching this. You were taught that being a good man means showing up, right? Holding things together, being dependable, being the one people can count on when everything else falls apart. And you did that. You worked. You provided. You sacrificed hours, sleep, opportunities, pieces of yourself. And you did it quietly because that's what men are supposed to do. Nobody handed you a script and said, oh, ask for appreciation. The script says, be strong, be steady, be there. So you were. And here's the part that's hard. She didn't feel the weight of you because you were the one carrying it. Research from the Center for Male Psychology found that partnered men earn more, give more, and often restructure their entire lives around their partner's needs, frequently at personal cost. And most of it, unacknowledged. Not because she's cruel, but because the system trained both of you. It trained her to receive, and it trained you to provide. And it trained neither of you to notice what consistency provision actually costs. You weren't just a boyfriend. You were the infrastructure. The reason the lights stayed on. The reason things felt okay even when they weren't. You were the foundation. And nobody thanks the foundation until the house starts shaking. One man put it like this: she was my everything, and I gave her everything I could, make sure she was taken care of. And now I'm doing my part. And that's it. That's it. He's not bitter. He's not broken. He's just uncarrying weight for someone who never noticed the load. You didn't lose her because you weren't enough. You lost her because you were so consistent. She forgot that enough was a choice you made every single day. And the day you stopped choosing, that's the day she felt the earthquake. There's a pattern research called dumper's remorse. Morrison and Rose found that 19% of Americans report romantic relationship regret, more than career, finances, or family decisions, more than any domain in life. And it almost hits late. Here's why. The brain has something called the fading affect bias. Negative emotions from a relationship fades faster than positive ones. So over time, the arguments blur, the frustration dim. The reasons she left starts to feel smaller. But the good stuff, that stays in HD, and suddenly, the phantom X phenomenon kicks in. Problems that felt insurmountable during a relationship starts to look manageable in hindsight, fixable, regrettable. That's when the text comes. I've been thinking about us. I just wanted to check in. Oh, I miss how things used to be. If she had avoidant tendency, this is even more predictable. Research from Free to Attach found that avoidants experience separation elations right after a breakup. Relief, freedom, lightness. But 2 to 4 months later, the depressive episode starts. The absence registers, the house is empty, and there's no one in the house anymore. Here's what makes it cruel. Avoidants are only free to miss you once you're gone. As long as you're reachable, their walls stay up. The moment you disappear, walls, they come down. They miss you, but only because you left. And that's not love returning. That's avoidance running out of places to hide. So let's say she reaches out. Let's say, I've been thinking about you text finally lands. Or she shows up somewhere that she knows you're going to be. Or a mutual friend suddenly starts asking how you're doing. Let me be direct with you. Nostalgia is not accountability. Missing you is not the same as valuing you. If she comes back, like really comes back with intention, with ownership, with actual evidence of change, then you can make whatever decision feels right. But if she comes back expecting the version of you who waited, who chased, who tolerated crumbs and called it a meal, that man doesn't live here anymore. Someone says, I want what's real, not what's convenient. That's the standard now. Not, oh, I miss what you did for me. Not, no one else treats me like you did. Not, oh, I didn't realize what I had. You're not a lesson plan. You're not a realization. You're not the answer someone arrives at after failing the test with everyone else. You're the first choice, or you're not a choice at all. There's a version of you that tolerated less than you deserved. A version that over-explained, that chased clarity from people committed to confusion, that shrank to make someone else comfortable in a room you were paying for. That version is gone. And if anyone comes knocking expecting him, wrong address. Someone wrote, I'm done making people comfortable. Retired. Like retired. Not bitter. Not closed off. Just done with that contract. Done performing for people who weren't paying attention. You rebuilt without witnesses. You healed without closure. You became someone new. And the people who knew the old you won't even recognize the upgrade. Someone else said, so much growth and healing without witnesses. That's real. And here's what no one tells you about that kind of growth. It's disoriented. You look around and realize that people who used to know you, they don't. And the person you've become doesn't owe them an introduction. Another person put it perfectly. Stop confusing being loyal with being lost. Loyalty is a virtue, but loyalty to someone who wasn't paying attention, that's not devotion, That's erosion with extra steps. Your absence is teaching someone what your present never could. And that's not your failure. That's their curriculum. You don't owe anyone access to the men that they didn't appreciate the first time. You don't owe anyone a second enrollment in a class they already failed. So if she's finally waking up, good for her, but you woke up first. You've been awake, and you're not going back to sleep just because someone finally noticed the sun coming up. She's realizing what she lost. But you're realizing what you're worth. And only one of those things build a future. It has been your girl, Rene here. I'll see you guys in my next video.